The Mosin-Nagant M189-130 rifle was the most important infantry weapon carried by Soviet soldiers during World War II. Originally designed in the late 19th century, this bolt-action rifle proved that old designs could still dominate modern battlefields, when reliability mattered more than sophistication. Chambered in the powerful 7.62 x 5.4 mm R cartridge, it delivered strong penetration and long-range accuracy, making it effective against enemy infantry, light cover, and even equipment. For many Red Army soldiers, the Mosin-Nagant was their first and only firearm. It was issued in massive numbers, ensuring that newly mobilized troops could be armed quickly. The rifle's simple internal mechanism allowed it to function even when exposed to mud, snow, ice, and neglect, conditions that were common on the Eastern Front. In freezing temperatures where other weapons failed, the Mosin-Nagant continued to fire. The long barrel gave the rifle excellent accuracy, especially in the hands of trained marksmen. Soviet snipers used scoped versions of the Mosin-Nagant to deadly effect, turning ruined cities and forests into lethal hunting grounds. Famous battles such as Moscow, Stalingrad, and Kursk saw millions of these rifles in action. Although its bolt-action design limited rate of fire, Soviet doctrine emphasized discipline, positioning, and coordinated assaults to overcome this weakness. Beyond combat, the Mosin-Nagant became a symbol of Soviet resistance. It represented mass mobilization, sacrifice, and endurance. By the end of the war, over 17 million units had been produced. Even after World War II, the rifle continued to serve in many countries, proving its legendary durability. For the Soviet soldier, the Mosin-Nagant was not just a weapon, it was survival itself. The PP-Sh-41 submachine gun became one of the most feared infantry weapons of World War II. Designed for close-quarters combat, it perfectly suited the brutal conditions of urban warfare and trench fighting, firing the fast 7.62 x 25 mm cartridge. The PP-Sh-41 delivered an extremely high rate of fire, allowing Soviet soldiers to overwhelm enemy positions in seconds. One of the weapon's most distinctive features was its large drum magazine, capable of holding up to 71 rounds. This gave Red Army troops a massive firepower advantage during assaults. In street battles such as Stalingrad, soldiers armed with PP-Sh-41s could clear buildings quickly, firing bursts down hallways and stairwells. The psychological effect alone was devastating, as the loud, rapid fire echoed through ruined cities. The PP-Sh-41 was cheap, easy to manufacture, and required minimal machining. Soviet factories produced millions, even under bombardment. Its simple blowback design allowed it to function reliably despite dirt, dust, or snow. German troops frequently captured and reused the PP-Sh-41, sometimes modifying it to fire their own ammunition, an acknowledgement of its effectiveness. Unlike rifles designed for precision, the PP-Sh-41 excelled at short range. Soviet tactics often involved mass infantry charges supported by automatic weapons, and the PP-Sh-41 was central to this approach. By the final push into Berlin, it had become the defining weapon of Soviet assault troops. The PP-Sh-41 symbolized aggression, momentum, and the Red Army's unstoppable advance westward. The Tokarev TT-33 pistols served as the standard sidearm for Soviet officers, tank crews, pilots, and specialized troops during World War II. Compact and powerful, it fired the same high-velocity 7.62 x 25 mm cartridge used in submachine guns, giving it impressive penetration for a pistol of its size. Though not issued to every infantryman, the TT-33 was an important part of the Soviet soldier's kit. The pistol was designed with simplicity in mind. It featured a straightforward internal mechanism that made it easy to manufacture and maintain. Unlike many Western pistols, the TT-33 lacked a traditional safety, relying instead on careful handling and its half-cock notch. While this design choice was controversial, it allowed faster deployment in emergencies. For officers, the TT-33 was both a defensive weapon and a symbol of authority. Tank crews carried it in case they were forced to abandon their vehicles, while pilots relied on it if shot down behind enemy lines. In close combat, the pistol offered reliable stopping power at short distances. Although overshadowed by rifles and submachine guns, the Tokarev TT-33 played a crucial supporting role throughout the war. Its rugged design ensured it could survive harsh battlefield conditions. After World War II, the pistol influenced many later designs and continued service in numerous countries. For the Soviet military, the TT-33 represented practicality, power, and efficiency. The SZ-40 steel helmet was the standard combat helmet worn by Soviet soldiers during World War II. Introduced in 1940, it was designed to offer improved protection compared to earlier Soviet helmets, especially against artillery fragments, shrapnel, and falling debris. On the Eastern Front, where artillery fire caused the majority of casualties, this helmet played a critical role in soldier survival. Manufactured from stamped steel, the SZ-40 featured a rounded shape that helped deflect fragments rather than absorb their full impact. It was not intended to stop rifle bullets, but it significantly reduced head injuries caused by explosions. The helmet's interior liner was simple yet functional, allowing soldiers to wear it for long periods, even during extended marches and battles. The SZ-40 was produced in enormous quantities using simplified industrial processes. Soviet factories could manufacture it quickly, even during evacuations and under constant bombing. This ensured that nearly every Red Army soldier heading to the front received head protection. Soldiers often customized their helmets with cloth covers, camouflage, or unit markings, especially during winter operations. In major battles such as Moscow, Stalingrad, and Kursk, the SZ-40 became an instantly recognizable symbol of the Soviet infantryman. Its silhouette is seen in countless wartime photographs and newsreels. Though basic in design, the helmet saved thousands of lives and remained in use long after the war. For the Soviet soldier, the SZ-40 was silent protection in a battlefield dominated by explosions and chaos. The gymnasturka was the standard field uniform worn by Soviet soldiers throughout World War II. Simple in appearance, yet highly practical, it reflected the Red Army's focus on functionality and mass production. Made from durable cotton fabric, the uniform was designed to withstand harsh weather conditions, constant movement, and extended combat operations. The gymnasturka consisted of a pullover-style shirt with a buttoned collar, often worn with matching trousers. Its loose fit allowed freedom of movement, which was essential for infantry combat, trench warfare, and long marches. The uniform offered little insulation on its own, so soldiers layered it with coats, scarves, and other gear during winter campaigns. Color variations ranged from khaki to brown depending on factory output and available materials. Over time, the design was simplified even further to speed up production. Rank insignia and unit identification were minimal, reinforcing the Soviet emphasis on collective identity rather than individual distinction. Despite its basic construction, the gymnasturka became an enduring symbol of the Red Army soldier. It was worn from the early defensive battles of 1941 to the final assault on Berlin in 1945. Covered in mud, snow, and dust, the uniform told the story of endurance and sacrifice. For Soviet soldiers, the gymnasturka was more than clothing. It was a constant companion through the hardest war in their nation's history. Kurza boots were the standard footwear issued to Soviet soldiers during World War II, and they perfectly represented the Red Army's philosophy of practicality over comfort. Made from artificial leather known as kurza, these boots were cheaper and faster to produce than traditional leather footwear. This allowed the Soviet Union to equip millions of soldiers during rapid mobilization. Designed as high boots, kurzas provided ankle support and protection from mud, snow, and debris. Soldiers often wore them with foot cloths rather than socks, a traditional method that helped prevent blisters and could be easily dried in harsh conditions. While not comfortable by modern standards, kurza boots were durable and suitable for long marches across rough terrain. On the Eastern Front, weather was as deadly as the enemy. From frozen winters to muddy spring thaws, footwear could mean the difference between survival and injury. Kurza boots performed reasonably well in these extreme environments. though soldiers often complained about cold and stiffness in winter. Despite this, the boots remained in service throughout the war due to their simplicity and availability. Worn from the early retreats of 1941 to the final advance into Berlin, Kurza boots became an inseparable part of the Soviet soldiers' appearance. Covered in mud, snow, and dust, they carried Red Army troops across thousands of kilometers of battlefield. For many soldiers, these boots symbolized endurance, hardship, and relentless forward movement. The Soviet M1938 backpack was an essential part of every infantryman's field equipment. Designed to carry personal belongings, rations, spare clothing, and ammunition, this rucksack supported soldiers during long marches and extended combat operations. Made from canvas and reinforced with leather straps, it was simple yet functional. The backpack's rectangular shape allowed soldiers to pack items efficiently, while external straps could hold blankets, shelter halves, or additional gear. Although not ergonomically advanced, it was rugged enough to survive harsh battlefield conditions. Many soldiers customized their packs, repairing straps or adding personal touches to improve comfort. Logistics played a crucial role in the Soviet war effort, and the M1938 backpack reflected this reality. It was cheap to produce and easy to repair, making it suitable for mass armies operating across vast distances. Whether advancing or retreating, Soviet soldiers relied on this backpack to carry everything they owned. In battles where supply lines were stretched thin, the backpack often contained life-saving essentials. Food, ammunition, and spare clothing meant survival during long periods away from supply depots. The sight of a Red Army soldier marching with a heavy rucksack became a common image throughout the war, symbolizing endurance and self-reliance. The MPL-50 entrenching tool, commonly known as the Soviet shovel, was one of the most versatile tools carried by Red Army soldiers. Though simple in appearance, it served multiple critical roles on the battlefield. Primarily used for digging trenches, foxholes, and defensive positions, it allowed soldiers to create cover quickly under fire. The shovel's compact design made it easy to carry on a belt or pack. Its solid steel blade and wooden handle were extremely durable, capable of cutting through frozen soil and hard ground. Soviet doctrine emphasized rapid entrenchment, and this tool enabled infantry to survive artillery bombardments and enemy assaults. Beyond digging, the MPL-50 had many secondary uses. Soldiers used it to clear obstacles, chop wood, and even as an improvised weapon in desperate close combat situations. Its sharp edges and balance made it surprisingly effective when ammunition ran out. Often overlooked, the entrenching tool saved countless lives by allowing soldiers to dig in quickly. From defensive lines around Moscow to forward positions in Berlin, the MPL-50 was always close at hand. For Soviet soldiers, this shovel was not just a tool. It was protection, survival, and sometimes the last line of defense.